guys, welcome to my channel Creatively Expressive. My name is Amy and today's video is going to be a little bit different than my normal videos. So on March 13th, my grandma passed away. She was 92 years old and she would have been 93 this July. And she was born and raised in Michigan, and her and my grandpa moved here when they retired. So we're going to be doing a memorial service for her later on this year in Michigan once the weather gets warmer. But in the meantime, we wanted to do something for her here. And so since I'm known as the party planner in the family, I was asked to plan a celebration of life for her. And while I've planned lots of parties before, I've never done an occasion like this. So I went online and I started searching for ideas. And while I was able to find ideas for specific items, I was struggling on finding ideas on how to put them together in a space for people to gather. And so since I was struggling, I figured other people might be struggling as well. So I thought I'd share what I came up with everyone today. And then in a couple weeks after we have the celebration of life, I'll share another video on how I put them all together in the space. But just keep in mind that any of the ideas that I'm sharing with you today can be easily modified for any occasion. And now that I've talked your guys' ear off, let's get into the video. For the first project, I'm going to be using this cross wreath form from Dollar Tree, this greenery that I got from Michael's, this mixed greenery that I found at Walmart, and these roses and freesia that I got from the Dollar Tree. First, I used the mixed greenery from Walmart and I cut all the stems apart. Then I am going to use some floral wire to attach some of the stems to the wreath form. I just weave the wire around the greenery stem and one of the middle bars on the wreath form. And then I will cut away the rest of the stem that I don't need. Then I will repeat this process on all sides of the wreath form. And let me just say that I don't generally make wreaths, so there might be a better way to do this, but this is the method that I came up with. If anyone has a better or easier way to do this, please share with me in the comments section below. Okay, so now that I have added all of those matching stems, I'm going to add in these stems that have the purple leaves and the little white flowers on them. And I will attach those to the other center wires on the form that I have not already used. And next, and I should have actually done this first, but I was just winging it with this whole wreath. But if you want to make something like this, I would do this step first. But anyways, for this step, I'm going to use the greenery that I found at Michael's and attach it to all the outer bars on the wreath form with that floral wire. And then I'm going to just continue to fill in the center bars with the rest of the mixed greenery that I got from Walmart. And now that the wreath form is nice and full and covered with all the greenery, I'm going to add in my flowers. First, I'm going to add in my freesia flowers, leaving a space between each one of them for those purple roses. The way I add the freesia in is to push the stems through to the back of the wreath and then attach it to one of the wreath bars with that floral wire. Then when I add in the roses, I will bend the wires to make them easier to attach to the wreath bars. Then the last step is to make a bow for my wreath. For the bow, first I will be using this light purple ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to make an 18-inch tail and then form a loop and pinch the ends of the loop together. Then I will make a loop on the opposite side the same size as the first loop. I'm going to repeat these steps, making 2 loops on each side, and then temporarily hold my bow together using a clothespin and leaving a second 18-inch tail. Then I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the light purple ribbon with this gold ribbon that I got at Walmart. And now I'm going to make a third bow with this darker purple ribbon that I got at Walmart, repeating all of the steps that I made with the first 2 bows, except I will make 3 loops on each side of this bow instead of 2 like I did with the other ones. Now I'm going to attach all 3 sections of my bow together using a zip tie, putting the light purple section in the back, then the gold ribbon on top of that, and then finally the darker purple on the top. And before I tighten the zip tie all the way, I'm going to thread a piece of floral wire through the back. And now I'm sorry, but I forgot to record this step, but I thread the wire on the bow through that center of the wreath and then wind the wire around the center bars on the wreath. And now the wreath is complete, and I will hang it on this 36-inch wreath easel stand that I found at Hobby Lobby for about $6. For the second project, I will be using this piece of vellum that I got from Hobby Lobby and this 8x8-inch shadow box frame that I got on Amazon. So first I measured the glass on my frame and it was 7.5 by 7.5 inches. So I cut down that piece of vellum to 7.5 by 7.5 inches. Don't do this, and you'll see why here in a second. So the 7.5 by 7.5 inch piece of vellum fit perfectly inside of my frame, but there's a small gap between the glass and the frame, and my piece of vellum ends up sliding down into that gap, and then it's too small to cover the entire glass area. Luckily, I had bought 2 sheets of this vellum. So then I decided to cut my second sheet of vellum to 8 by 8 inches, and I had a lot of trouble trying to get it inside of the frame, and when I finally did, it wouldn't lie flat against the glass. So I get the vellum back out and finally decide to try to cut it down to 7 3/4 inches by 7 3/4 inches. And that ended up being the magic number. had to finagle the paper a little bit into the frame, but once it was in there, it laid flat and it didn't slide around. Now I'm going to add these fairy lights that I got from Dollar Tree inside of my shadow box. The fairy lights have a wire in them, so they kind of hold their shape when you bend them. So I bent the strand to fit inside the length of the box, and then in order to hold them in place so that they don't just fall down to the bottom, I'm going to use some tape to tape the wires in place inside of the box. And now I'm going to put the box back together, leaving the battery pack with the on and off switch outside of the box. There were two back pieces that came with this box, and for the first back piece I needed to cut off a small corner to make room for the cord. But the second back piece fit on just fine without me needing to cut the corner off. Now that the box is reassembled, I am trying to figure out what to do with the battery pack. I finally settle on the bottom center of my frame, and it fits perfectly between the tabs holding the back on. Now I'm just going to use some Star Bond super glue to attach the battery pack to the back of my frame. Now I designed this decal in my Silhouette Design Studio to fit on the glass of my shadow box frame, and I cut it out using my Silhouette cutting machine. Then I am going to use transfer tape and parchment paper to center and attach my decal to my shadow box. Once I have done that, this project is now complete. For the third project, I will be taking this wood cross that I got from Dollar Tree and painting it with this petunia purple color. Once the paint is dried, I decide to try and Mod Podge another piece of vellum that I had to the front of the cross. But I quickly realized that Mod Podge and vellum don't work well together. First of all, you can see all the unevenness of the Mod Podge through the vellum, and this might have looked alright once the Mod Podge was dried, but then I had a second problem. The vellum was bubbling up like crazy, and when I tried to pull it up to fix it, it ripped off my paint. So then I go back to the drawing board. So the first thing I had to do was fix my paint. So I sand the paint and Mod Podge off of the cross, and I just started all over again. So I repaint the cross with that petunia purple color, and then I decide to make myself a stencil with my Silhouette cutting machine. So I found this floral cut file on Etsy for $2.50. I cut it out in vinyl, and then I attach it to the front of my cross. Now I'm going to first paint over my stencil with that petunia purple color. The reason I do this is that it seals in the edges of my stencil, and any bleed through that I might get will be the same color as the cross, so you won't be able to see it. Once the purple color has dried, I am going to go over my stencil with white chalk paint. Then when the white paint is dry, I am going to peel away that stencil. Once the stencil has been removed, I noticed some spots around the edges of the cross where the paint had pooled and dried, so I am going to use a fingernail file to gently sand away those areas. Now for the second part of this project, I'm going to glue 2 of these round pieces of styrofoam together and then place my cross on top. Then I am going to use some floral that I found on Amazon to cover the foam. I have 12 stems with just leaves on them, and I'm going to place them around the bottom of my styrofoam. After I had already placed some of the stems in, I realized that it will be easier to equally space them out if I use a pencil to mark my styrofoam into 4 sections and then place 3 stems into each section. Now I'm going to use some white peonies from the Dollar Tree and stick 12 of those flowers into my styrofoam in between each of the leaf stems and also slightly higher up than those stems. Now I'm taking some purple roses from the Dollar Tree and I stick 1 of those in each of the 4 sections of my foam. The previous florals I used were stuck out of the sides of the foam, and these ones are stuck in the top of the foam, and I also placed them at an angle. Now I'm going to be using these purple florals that I purchased on Amazon. I purchased 4 boxes total for this and all of my other projects. So now I'm just going to be taking florals from that box and filling in the top of the area of my foam around the cross. And then I will just add in some leaves and small florals around the sides and then some smaller flowers into that top area. Now I decide to hot glue the cross to the top of my styrofoam. I probably should have done this first, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to when I first started adding in my florals. But then I decided later that I wanted it glued in place. And then once I have done that, this project is complete. For the fourth project, I am going to be using this Valentine's heart that I got from Dollar Tree, and I am going to tear off that paper on the heart and then sand it smooth. Once I do that, I am going to paint the entire heart with white chalk paint. Then I designed this decal in Silhouette Design Space to fit my heart, and I cut it out on gold vinyl. The reason that my decal is in two pieces is that I only had some scrap pieces of gold vinyl left, and I didn't want to buy any more. You could always cut it all out in one piece, but this is all that I had left. Now I'm going to use transfer tape and parchment paper to place my decals on my heart, and then this project is complete. I saw a similar heart on Amazon that was a clear acrylic heart for $12, but since I already had the Dollar Tree heart on hand, I thought I'd make my own version and save myself a little bit of money. Now for the fifth project, I'm going to be making some table signs using these gold glitter 4x4 frames that I got from the Dollar Tree. I went on Etsy and I purchased some butterfly clip art and also some purple flower clip art. Then I found 6 different memorial poems that I liked, and I put the clip art and the poems together and I printed them out to fit inside the 4x4 frames. Now I'm just going to cut them down with my paper cutter and place them into my frames, and this project is complete. For the sixth project, I am going to be making some seed packet favors to hand out. I found these little 2x3 envelopes on Amazon. I got a pack of 100 for $6.99. And then I also found this pack of flower seeds on Amazon. I like these seeds because they attract butterflies, and I'm doing a butterfly theme, so I like that they went with my theme. Now I'm going to be using these pens that came with my Silhouette Cameo 4 for this project. So you decide on a pen color, and then you put it into this pen adapter that comes with the machine. Then there is a number 1 on the adapter, and that is telling you which slot you need to put your pen and your adapter into in your machine. Then I found this butterfly image in the Silhouette Design Store, and then I added my own wording to it and sized it to fit my envelopes. And then you just do the same thing you do with your machine when you're cutting, but instead of cutting, your machine will draw out the image with the pen. This was my first time using the pens, and I think it turned out pretty cool. Now that all the envelopes that I need have been printed on, I am going to fill them with seeds. So I fill each envelope with a half a teaspoon of seeds, and I was able to fill 32 bags with this one bag of seeds that I purchased on Amazon. Then I just seal the tops of each envelope, and then I wanted something to display these on, and I remembered that I had this rectangular charger plate that I got from the Dollar Tree. The only problem was that it was silver and my color scheme is purple and gold. But that was an easy fix. I just used some gold spray paint that I had on hand and painted it gold, and then this project was complete. Now for the 7th and final project, I am going to be making some floral centerpieces. I will be using 6 of these glass vases that I got from the Dollar Tree and these flowers that I got from Amazon. First, I am going to use my heat gun to remove the stickers from the bottom of my vases. Then I am going to use some rubbing alcohol to remove the residue that the stickers left behind. For these 6 centerpieces, I am going to be using 3 boxes of flowers that I got from Amazon. I am going to divide each box into 2 groups of flowers, and I am trying to divide them up into the same type of flowers for each group. And if any of the flowers had leaves on them, I removed them so that I can save them for that cross floral centerpiece that I made earlier in this video. And I also will be saving some of the smaller flowers from the boxes for that project too. For this project, I will be using the larger flowers only. Now I'm going to bundle up my flowers in my hand like a little bouquet, and then I'm going to wrap some jute twine around the stems to hold them together, and then I use hot glue to glue the end of the twine to itself. Then I'm going to cover that jute twine with some gold ribbon to dress it up a bit more, and I use hot glue to attach that ribbon to the twine. Now I need to trim the ends of my stem so that they are all the same length, and then I could put my bouquet into my vase. So for a little finishing touch and to tie in the butterfly theme, I am going to add one of these gold butterflies that I got from Amazon to my bouquet. These butterflies are perforated, so you fold their wings to make them look like they are flying. So I'm going to bend them over where their wings are perforated, and then these came with these little glue dots that you can use to stick them to whatever you want. So I'm going to add a glue dot to my butterfly, and then stick my butterfly to one of the flowers in my bouquet, and then this project is complete.